How is everybody doing today? This is the season finale of Haunted Indiana, Ghosts and Strange Phenomenon of the Hoosier State by James A. Willis. This is Season 2, Central Indiana. Tonight's haunting tale, and I've actually been here. It's in one of my late night occult episodes. It's a two-parter. The Ghosts of Stepp Cemetery. I'm not sure why, but most of Indiana's creepiest locations tend to be inside state forests. If you're looking for something really scary, you might want to head over to the Morgan Monroe State Forest, located near Martinsville, where you'll be able to step inside what many consider to be one of the most haunted locations in the entire United States, Stepp Cemetery. The ghost stories and legends associated with Stepp Cemetery have been around for years. In fact, you'd be hard-pressed to find any Hoosier under the age of 60 who hasn't heard of Stepp. Little is known about the origins of the cemetery other than it was established sometime in the early 1800s. But even then, that is a bit fuzzy, especially when you hear some people claim that it was the work of a mysterious cult known as the Crabbites. While most of the gravestones are from the first half of the 1800s, there are a few from the late 1700s. There are even a few family plots here, such as the Bowmans and the Adkins. Unfortunately, Stepp Cemetery has fallen victim to repeated vandalism over the years, making it hard to get a firm count on how many people are at rest here. And that is very true. Very true. When I was there, broken tombstones. Yeah, it was a mess. Especially at night. One of the most enduring stories concerns the Witch's Throne, an old tree stump that resembles a throne. It is said that a woman, dressed entirely in black, sits there. Often under the light of a full moon, sometimes she is even seen holding her face in her hands and weeping. Her painful sobs often being heard even before one reaches the cemetery. There is a story concerning a call to a local police station claiming a woman was up in Stepp Cemetery crying. The police arrived and heard the crying too, but when they reached the cemetery, the crying suddenly stopped and the cemetery was found to be empty. Who the woman in black weeps for is unknown. Some say it is one of her children who is buried in the cemetery. In another variation, her child is not buried here, but instead was murdered inside the cemetery, and her body left behind. In this version, the ghostly woman is weeping over the loss of her child as she sits and waits to see if the murderer returns to the scene of the crime. Yet another variation says that the woman is crying over the loss of her husband, a local construction worker who was killed while working and later buried at Stepp. Another ghost said to haunt Stepp Cemetery is known as Baby Lester, and yes, I was at his grave. the name deriving from a headstone in Stepp, marked simply Baby Lester, 1937. Originally, it was thought that the woman in black was Baby Lester's mother, which turned out to be not true. When Lester's mother, Athelia Walls, was found to be very much alive, she passed away in 2001. But that did not stop people from hearing the cries of the baby in the cemetery late at night, which I did hear. It is also not uncommon to find Baby Lester's grave covered with coins and other small trinkets that have been left behind by cemetery visitors as tribute. When I was there, it wasn't really nothing there, to be honest. The same thing when I visited John Dillinger's grave, which is another trinket-heavy grave site. There wasn't really nothing there. One final ghost story, in late addition to the game, says that there are a couple of giant black dogs that roam the cemetery grounds at night, protecting it from all who might enter and try to vandalize the sacred ground. The dogs are said to walk around the perimeter of the cemetery, sticking mainly to the woods. They seem to be able to sense when people are there to cause harm, and will come charging into the cemetery, with their eyes sometimes glowing a fiery red. And that is also very true. I did have an encounter with the black dogs. It was close to midnight, and we were getting ready to leave, and I could literally hear them as if they were standing right next to me. Now, I wasn't doing anything wrong per se, but the company I was with, well, you know how teenage kids are. And yet the funny thing is they were grown-ass adults. Like in their 20s and stuff. But, yeah. But, I did visit Stepp Cemetery. And like I said, it is in my Late Night Occult playlist. It should be labeled Stepp Cemetery. So, if you want to check out that would be super cool. And I will wrap up this season ender with thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Sorry it took a while, but I've decided to make this series seasonal as well. So, Haunted Indiana will come back next October, unless there is a demand for it to be out of season. But Season 2, Central Indiana, is wrapped. Season 3, Indianapolis, where I live, will be ready for next year. So, yeah, I really appreciate this. Everything in the description box, greatly appreciated. And I hope everyone has a happy October, a wonderful Halloween. To my witchy friends, I hope they have a wonderful Samhain. I was about to get literal there. Or not literal, but I was about to say it the way it looks. Yeah. Bye.